To order the regular meeting for Thursday, April 5th, 2018, 5:30 p.m. Reminder, sorry, I'm still thinking about read everything. I'd like to remind everybody to silence their telephones, and if you have anything an item you would like to speak on, please fill out a blue slip in the back and give it to Miss Jessica here in the front. We will have the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Andropon.
Mrs. Trimmy, will you do the invocation for us, please, ma'am?
Get my breath?
You can do that too.
How about a moment of silence?
Yeah, moment of silence. Our most humble and gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for these that are here tonight. We ask you to put the light of God around everyone that's here today and around our parish and the people that are in it and around our state and around our country. We ask you, Lord, to lighten the load. We ask you, Lord, to lead us and guide us in the way that you want us to go. We ask you that what we do here is in your name. And as we go forward, that everyone knows that you are leading and guiding this place. I ask all of these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Take the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Trimmy. We're going to jump to item number 5. We will come back at 6 p.m. Roll call, Mr. Oh, but first we're going to do roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Abshire?
Here.
Mr. Andropov?
Here.
Mr. Bryan?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Farnum is unable to attend this evening. Mr. Guidry?
Here.
Mr. Guillory?
Here.
Mr. Landry? Mr. Latour?
Here.
Ms. Mayo?
Here.
Mr. McMillan?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Trimmy?
Here.
Vice President White?
Here.
And President Barris.
Thank you. Now we will jump ahead to item number 5. Take appropriate action on applications for liquor and beer permits. Mr. Crane.
Mr. President, we have 5 applications before you tonight and recommend they be approved.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Andrew Pont, a second, Mr. Collins, a second by Mr. Guidry. Can you put that in? Got any discussion? Any objections? Motion carries. Item number 6, consideration of approving payment of all current invoices. I got a motion by Mr. McMillan and a second by Mr. Abshire. Got any discussion? Any objection? Item carries. Item number 7, consideration of approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the police jury dated March 1st, 2018. I have a motion by Mr. Andrew Pont and a second by Mr. Guidry. Any discussion? Any objection? Item carries. Item 8, consideration of approving the Emergency Response Ambulance Committee's report dated March 29, 2018. Mr. Collins.
Emergency Response Ambulance Committee report dated March 29, 2018. A, we received a report from staff regarding ambulance service in Calcasieu Parish. B, recommended that an ordinance be adopted approving the renewal of the exclusive franchise agreement with the Acadian Ambulance Service for a 5-year period for emergency and non-emergency ambulance service in Calcasieu Parish. Mr. President, this is the end of my report.
Second.
So move to
Thank
make
you,
a
Mr.
motion.
Collins. We got a motion to accept by Mr. Guillory and a second by Mr. Guidry. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 9, consideration of approving the Budget Committee report dated March 29th, 2018. Mr. Barnum is not here, we're gonna have, I will read this into the record. Item A, recommended approval of request from the following entities for grant funding from the gaming fund. Number one, Ward 4, District 12, $10,000. Ward 4, Fire Protection District Number 2 for the purchase of mini Unicus breathing air systems. Number 2, Ward 4, District 13, $1,150, West Calcasieu Cameron Hospital matching funds for the purchase and installation of speed bumps on Stelly Lane and Kuntz Road. And number 3, Ward 4, District 15, $20,000, City of Sulphur for the purchase of radar speed signs and other electronic-based traffic equipment for use by the Sulphur Police Department. Item B, recommended approval of the following request for grant funding from the Economic Development Parish-wide Needs Allocation of the Gaming Fund. Number 1, Community Center and Playground District Number 2 of Ward 4, SPAR, $35,000 for costs related to the LHSAA Girls State Fast Pitch 56 Softball Championship. Number 2, Community Center and Playground District Number 2 of Ward 4, SPAR, $10,000 for costs related to the LHSAA Boys State Baseball Championships. Number 3, Calcasieu Parish Voluntary Council on the Aging Incorporated, $100,000 funding assistance for the 2018 Meals on Wheels program. Number 4, USS Orlick Naval Museum, $25,000 funding assistance for their continued programmatic costs. Number 5, Louisiana High School Athletic Association, $15,000 for costs associated with the 2018 State High School Boys March Madness Basketball Tournament. Number 6, Louisiana High School Rodeo Association, $25,000 for costs associated with the 2018 State High School and Junior High School Rodeo. Item C, recommended that a resolution be adopted approving funding assistance in the amount of $400,000 from the following allocations to Waterworks District Number 10 of Ward 7 toward the installation of a water system. 2018 budget, Ward 7 allocation $180,000. 2018 budget, parish-wide needs allocation $150,000. 2019 budget, Ward 7 allocation $70,000.
Move on item 9 and all items.
Second.
We have a motion to accept by Mr. McMillan and a second by Mr. Guidry. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Okay. Item 10, consideration of approving the Public Works Committee report dated March 29, 2018. Mr. Brain.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Works Committee reported dated March 29, 2018. A, presented a trophy and certificates to the players and coaches of the St. Louis Catholic High School wrestling team. B, presented a retirement certificate to Miss Alicia Satie. C, recommended that resolutions be adopted approving professional engineering services contracts. One is Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for the LA 384 intersection improvement at Owls Road project. Number 2 is Myers and Associates Incorporated for the Louisiana 27 intersection improvements at High Hope Road project. 3 is Oquant and Associates Incorporated for the LA 27 intersection improvements at Dave Dugas Road project. Number 4 is Lawson Engineer Incorporated for the LA 1256 intersection improvements at Walker Road project. Number 5 is Neil Schaefer Incorporated for the LA 1256 intersection improvement at Carlos Drive project. 6 is CH Finstamaker and Associates LLC for the LA 27 intersection improvements at Houston River Road project. D, recommended approving a utilities and drainage servitude along with a temporary construction servitude for the Johnny Bro Road extension. E, recommended approving an active sale agreement for the Johnny Bro Road extension. F, recommended approving an active sale agreement for the Johnny Bro Road West Bridge Replacement Project. G, recommended approving an active sale agreement for the Johnny Bro Road West Bridge Replacement Project. H, recommended approving an active sale agreement for the Joe Spears Road Bridge Replacement Project. I, recommended that an ordinance be adopted establishing no parking on Hinch Road in Ward 4. J, recommended approving an exception to Section 18-100 for the Calcasieu Parish Code of Ordinances as requested by Satterfield and Pontikes Construction to allow concrete operation at Prime Guard Storage Facility, a project located at 5607 Big Lake Road. K, recommended that the parish engineer be authorized to advertise for bids for the following projects. 1, Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2018-07 Johnny Bro Road West Bridge Replacement Project. 2 is Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2018-08 I-10 South Frontage Road Construction Project Phase 2. 3, Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2018-09 Joe Spears Road Bridge Replacement Project. L, recommended that a resolution be adopted accepting Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2017-04 as substantially complete. That's the end of my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Brame.
Move on 10, all bullets.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. White to accept report and a second by Mr. Latour. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item number 11, consideration of approving the Agenda Committee
Move on
report
11.
dated March
Second.
29th, 2018. I've got a motion by Ms. Mayo and a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion? Any objections? Motion carries. Item 12, consideration of adopting resolutions calling a special election to be held in Calcasieu Parish, Louisiana on November 6th, 2018 for authority to renew, levy, and collect the following ad valorem tax millages.
Move on 12, both bullets.
Second.
Item A, Calcasieu Parish Courthouse Complex and Correctional Center, a special 3.27 mill tax for a period of 10 years from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2029, with collections from the renewed levy estimated to be $7,008,292 for one entire year for the purpose of maintaining and operating the Calcasieu Parish Courthouse Complex and Calcasieu Correctional Center. And B, Calcasieu Parish Public Library System, a special 5.99 mill tax for 10 years, for a period of 10 years, from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2029, with collections from the renewed levy estimated to be $12,837,819 for one entire year for the purpose of maintaining, constructing, equipping, operating, and supporting the Calcasieu Parish Public Library System and its facilities. Got a motion by Mr. Andrepont and a second by Mr. Brame. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Excuse me. Item 13, consideration of
Move on
adopting a
13.
resolution approving a
Second.
professional architectural contract between the police jury and Moss Architects Incorporated for design and services for the roof replacement and improvements to Central and Sulphur Libraries project. I've got a motion by Mr. Abshire and a second by Mr. Latour. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 14, take appropriate action on the following
double
bids
bullets.
and/or proposals
Second.
received by the parish purchasing agent. Item A, Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2018-01. The parish engineer recommends that the low bid in the amount of $2,906,851.33 of RE Height Construction Company LLC be accepted. Item B, Calcasieu Parish Project Number 2017-16. The parish engineer recommends that the low bid in the amount of $933,200.10 of Matt L. Gwynn Construction LLC be accepted. Got a motion by Mr. McMillan and a second by Ms. Mayo. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 15, consideration of approving a request by the Board of Directors of the Industrial Development Board of Calcasieu Parish, Louisiana Incorporated to create an additional seat on the board, and further adopting a resolution approving the appointment of Mr. Rick Richard. I've got a motion by Mr. McMillan and a second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 16, take appropriate action on the terms of the following members of various boards, districts. A, Mr. Ronald Phelps, Calcasieu Parish Public Safety Communications District.
Move to defer for 30 days.
Second.
Got a motion to defer for 30 days by Mr. White and a second by Mr. Latour. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item B,
Move to appoint
Mr. Cody Clement, Ward 4
Second.
Fire Protection District Number 2. We have a motion to appoint Mr. Kenny Domain by Mr. Francis Andrepont and a second by Mr. White. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 17, consideration of adopting a resolution of
Move on
condolences
17.
to be forwarded to the family of the late Roland Paul R.P. Dumas. Got a motion by Mr. McMillan and a second by Mr. Latour. Mr. McMillan.
I know a few of the jurors knew RP. He was a one-of-a-kind guy. He was my neighbor, like living across the street from Rodney Dangerfield. He was very, very funny. RP talked like Froggy from the Little Rascals. Hey, how y'all doing? Everything going all right? And he was an avid McNeese fan. He loved McNeese Cowboys, and he was just fun to be around and funny. He was a very hard worker, and he often gave things back to the community, helped out a lot of people through the years that he was here. I had the honor of doing his eulogy at the funeral, and RP was kind of one of those guys you had to go through a number of stories to be able to use a few stories at the eulogy, because he wasn't afraid to tell a good joke or have a good time. And him and I drank many a cold beer on his porch swing. He was a veteran and just one of those guys that you loved being around. I can tell you, went to one story about RP, went to an LSU game, and it rained out the game the day before, so we saw the end of one game and the start of the next game. Well, at the end of that game, they ran us all out of the stadium, and boy, it was hot, and the concession stands were closed. RP was like having a puppy. It wasn't 10 minutes later, we were at a tailgate party having cold beer and ribs with these people. He would meet anybody. He had just this zest for life, and he was just so good to know. He never met a stranger. He made his dealings and his money working for Shetler, Carl Shetler at Shetler Lincoln Mercury. He was out at the country club, and he really cared about servicing people. He was a guy that really knew how to service people and take care of them. R.P. Dumas, one of the classics of Calcasieu Parish. He'll be truly missed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan. Any further discussion? Any objection? Item carries. Item 18, consideration
18.
of proclaiming April 2018 as Fair Housing Month in Calcasieu Parish. We had a motion by Mr. Collins and a second by Mr. Abshire. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. He's gonna have to add it.
So, Mr. President, just to be clear, I know we got a 6 o'clock
you're gonna have to do the wording you do, but you can do this emergency item now as a part of this meeting.
Okay.
Just so you'll know, and if there's still time left over before 6, you can take a recess.
Okay, thank you.
Please review the item printed below for your consideration. The chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules to allow this item to be added to the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Anderpont and a second by Mr. Latour. Are there any comments from the public on adding this item to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to suspend the rules to add this item to the agenda. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 1, consideration of adopting resolutions ratifying the following actions taken by President Barris on behalf of the police jury as a result of heavy rains and flooding of waterways in the parish of Calcasieu. A, April 2nd, 2018, local government proclamation of pending state of emergency which activated all emergency preparedness plans. And B, April 2nd, 2018, Executive Order 2018-03, which imposed a restriction of boat traffic along Calcasieu River and English Bayou areas.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. White and a second by Mr. Scott. Mr. McMillan. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? All in favor of the motion on the floor? Opposed? Item number 1 passes. With that, we will take a short recess until the 6 p.m. hearing.